Welcome back and many thanks for tuning in to Power Brief on CAC TV. Tonight we take it easy. We are doing the state of the nation, happenings in the political corridors, but with a bias with the 2022 succession politics, as we are seeing a number of developments, especially in Western Kenya, where you find some quotas are being tear gassed and others holding meetings. There are also suspected rumors that indeed there is a directive that is coming on board for another lockdown and also cessation of political gatherings and rallies. Jacinta Wanza is with us in the house, and she's taking us through this matter together with Mr. Patrick Mulwa, a youth leader with the Wiper Democratic Party. Take part in this discussion as we find ways on how to develop Kenya and also contribute towards building this amazing republic. Before we went for a commercial break, something had come up, especially between Mr. Mulwa and Jacinta. We didn't want to go deep into it. Yes. But briefly, before we look into another development in the political corridors, we want to see whether it is healthy for a political party joining government as soon as after elections, whether it is healthy for a democracy, especially in the third world country.
For me, I don't think so. Well, in this case, because of the handshake in Kenya, this is a different case now. Mm-hmm. Immediately after the handshake, we saw peace in this country. Mm-hmm. This one, I truly support it, and I want to say congratulations to our former Prime Minister and to our president. Mm-hmm. Because as business people, we could not even work, we could not even experience a day without commotions in the town, without tear gas, and all the bad things that happened immediately after elections and before. Mm-hmm. So when we saw the handshake, we were very happy. And I want to say this went a long way and actually benefited a lot of people in the business world in Kenya.
So on your part also, a political party joining, I know you may say yes because you crossed over.
You know, what we need to know is that we in Wiper, the reason why we had to take that kind of a stand is because, you know, we must know that when we congratulate the winner, we support the winner, does not mean that we are weak. But it simply means that we are headed for the next win. Therefore, who knows what may happen. Therefore, we have tried to make sure that we support what the government and especially the president, the Big Four agenda, because the Big Four agenda is a benefit for the country. It's not a benefit for maybe those people who are in Jubilee. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we wanted to help the president to make the legacy that come true. Mm-hmm. Therefore, once we the working agreement was reached, I think it was all over, and I know you have it. We want to make sure that we have development across the country.
There's a concern that has been coming, especially to our show a number of times. Yes. This discussion crops up, where the individuals who say that even in first world countries, there are oppositions. When you go to the United States, you realize that there is opposition to offer checks and balances to the government of the day. So there are questions that they have been asking that, how about a third world country like Kenya? How healthy is it, or how far are we? Leave alone the issue of the handshake, leave alone the issue of what transpired after the 2017 general election. Is a third world country at the level of Kenya fit to have a cooperation of opposition and the government?
I think no. Unless there's a reason for this, and especially when our country is always on election mood all the time, and someone is trying maybe to make people realize that they have already jumped their guns and they are in support of the president, because maybe in future they want to work together with the president. But really, I think there is need to have opposition in this country, and I think it's still there because Raila is the core principal with Kalonzo. I think they have not merged this party. Their parties, ODM and Wiper, they are still in the opposition.
In the same regard, Mr. Mulwa, we want to revisit something a little bit because it's good to have a foundation of the topic or the subtopic. What is the relationship between the Wiper leader and the former Prime Minister?
Well,
are they still having a working relationship?
It is very cordial relationship, you know. And there's no one time. And I think you can remember during 2007 when what happened at Tononoka before Kalonzo went away with Wiper, that is the ODMK. You remember what happened? Then 2013, the unthinkable happened. The same Kalonzo and Raila came together. So what happened back then was more worse than what people think is happening today.
No.
Yeah?
True.
So therefore, what we want is that we still have opposition, because the MPs, they do not shy away from talking of what they feel, even if there's handshake, yeah? They talk what they feel and what they think is wrong. But now look at what is happening. We have other people from the other side who have been in the government, in the Jubilee. Now they are acting as the opposition leaders, which is very okay. We have Okuro Court and other people. So the opposition is not dead. And we have so many even other organizations outside politics who are doing checks and balances.
Just to mention, I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't think this issue of some people who are in Jubilee coalition. Now I know you're talking about Tanga Tanga and Kieleweke.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say that what Tanga Tanga and Kieleweke are doing, some are doing the very wrong thing, because you cannot build a government and start breaking it down. What I want to say is these people are calling them Tanga Tanga, and they are going around doing politics instead of supporting the president to now deliver the big four agendas. They are the ones who are giving room now to opposition. They called halfway in the Jubilee so that the president at least can have a back, because you cannot work alone as a president. You need serious political leaders to support you to achieve. So for Kalonzo to have come, and even the rest who are ready to come, we welcome them to Jubilee to come and work with the president, because we have seen where Jubilee people have broken the Jubilee itself.
So it's building one house,
yes,
and breaking down another one.
Exactly.
That's a topic for another day. Now, another issue here is a referendum fever, especially being coined around the Building Bridges initiative. And yesterday in the dailies also, we saw whatever development is happening, where there are two wings, one allied to the Deputy President, William Ruto, and another one allied to Raila. There are two suggestions here. One allegedly coming from Ruto camp is that the referendum to be held alongside the 2022 general election, in that ukipigia governor, upigie president, upigie senator, upigie women rep, MCA, unaeka pia moja referendum, by then the question shall have been set, unasema yes as you go. Another wing, this is now allegedly the Raila wing, is talking of 90 days after the president assents to the bill. Before we go to the pros and the cons of these two suggestions from these two camps, let's get to hear first where each one of you picks the right. 90 days of presidential assent or alongside the 2022 general election. Mr. Munda.
It is very clear that if we must have a referendum, it has never happened anywhere in this world that we have an election that is happening, a national election, and then we have another national kind of, so it is not possible. We must have that referendum coming after 9 days, as in 90 days, when the president has ascended the bill.
Because you'll give us your reasons, apart from it having not happened anywhere, any other part of the world. Remember, even there's some of the inventions that have happened in Kenya that have never happened elsewhere.
Very well.
You'll have to give us very deep reasons as to why you're not for that. Let's get to hear from the lady.
Now, for me, I would say that this is totally wrong to say that you can have an election and also a bill. Yeah, I'm talking about two elections at the same time.
This is a suggestion, a plebiscite actually.
A suggestion.
Yes,
suggestions of two elections happening at the same time. This can never happen. Ask me why, and I'll give you the answers. Actually, when you tell those people from the village to go and vote, the voting day, because I've been a candidate myself. When I went to the ballot box, you only remember to vote for yourself, possibly your area MCA and your MP and the president. You are not even interested with anything else. And that is me, who was a candidate, and I'm educated. Tell about that old woman from the village who will come and remember to vote for their candidate in the MCA, to remember to vote for the MP, remember to vote for their women rep, remember to vote for their MP and the governor, plus the senator, 6, plus another.
That one, it will be 7 ballot boxes.
No, I'm telling you the truth. That won't be fair at all. Because a lot of people will not even know what is happening.
Where are you anchoring your worries? Or why you think these must not even should, why these must not happen? How does it stand to be an obstacle to the achieving of what they want to achieve at the end of the day? Because the argument here some of them have been coming up with is that there is no money, there is no time for that, the country is already charged, COVID-19 is here with us, we cannot do this. But the others are also having another idea. Why? The major factors to why you think it cannot be held alongside the general election?
Now, if our elections cost us a lot of money, then you expect this to be double. And I don't think Kenya is at a place where we can hold these two at the same time. So for me, I would suggest that we have it after 90 days when the president has assented to it, because having it during the same time, the elections time, you know, Kenya wastes a lot of money. We waste a lot of money in this country for campaigns. So we cannot have this doubled. Our country will just cripple.
Many thanks. We found Mr. Mulwa also. He has told us his part. Now there's a big thing here. There's a big dilemma as far as the succession politics of 2022 is concerned. You know, succession politics is not just like any other politics. Here there is transition of power, whereby one head of state is going to hand over power. That's expected even constitutionally.
Yes.
What comes with succession politics are very many things. One, when a president exits, remember the president had his or her cabinet. Under the cabinet, there are people who are in parastatals.
Yes.
Under the parastatals, there are people who are under that going up to downwards there. So everyone wants to know whether they still have job security for the future. And that's why as soon as the 2017 election was over, another hit came up to where we are now. But again, the COVID-19 pandemic is here with us, and we are seeing a lot of confusion, others holding meetings, others being denied, or even if you want to hold a meeting, it's still another tall order. If the situation persists, we want to see and hear also from your suggestions. Should the campaigns be brought on hold until further notice, or it continues though with other strategies and procedures? Mr. Mulwa.
Maybe before I get to that, there was something I wanted to add about having the referendum and the election all together. You know, we have a problem with the IEBC transmission process. We must accept that. And therefore, we cannot come and start doing trial and error method during the general election. Therefore, the referendum will be like the test play, whether these guys are really prepared for the general election. Yeah. So, number one, we have a problem with that, and I think you saw we have transmission errors and so many other things. Now, my question is, what happens if the pandemic is with us up to 2022? Does it mean that we are going to postpone elections?
That is where we are now coming.
We are not going to postpone elections. Elections must take place, you know. Therefore, what is left for us is to make sure that we put the correct mechanisms, the infrastructure. Because, you know, we have countries that they do voting they use computers to, yeah. So are we there? We are not there. That should be our concern, yeah. And therefore, what we need to do as a country right away, because we cannot accept people to gather around. That one is totally unacceptable. So people should not gather. Therefore, there should be no political gatherings. And that is why you saw what happened in Western. When people are trying to gather, then they are tear gassed. Because you know what can happen.
Let's look into the gathering, because a number of people have suggestions. You see, political gatherings have always not, majority of them have not been held in closed places. You just give the example of Tononoka, that big ground, even Uhuru Park, Nyayo, Kasarani, and all those. Now, don't you think that there is a way social distancing can be observed in political rallies?
For me, I think a big no. Ask me why. We've seen in the very few 1 week days how the disease has spread. Now, if the president and the ministry allows for political meetings, this will even triple. Yeah. So we don't want to say it should not be there, but my suggestion is there should be no more political meetings or gatherings. This is totally wrong, because looks like in this country it's only about election, it's about leadership, it's only about power, and people don't care about the other Kenyans, the risks that come together with their power.
Now, Jacinta, on that part, so you're deviating from Mr. Mulwa's stand that elections must be held, because when you talk of no more political discussions, no more political discourse without offering a way forward, in other words, you're trying to say that we can postpone the elections.
I'm truly not saying there is not going to be elections. This time around, we should suspend the political meetings. We are just in 2020.
Only meetings or even political discussions? Political conversations?
These ones can go on, but meetings are wrong. When I talk about meetings, I talk about when an MP or an opponent of the MP is busy calling people for gatherings and pretending that they are giving masks, but they are doing campaigns. I'm talking about the campaigns. But meetings, you know, a meeting will not consist of, there are instructions of how meetings are supposed to be done. But political rallies and campaigns should not be happening now, because we still have not even delivered this country. The government has not delivered the Big Four agenda. Now, so the campaigns can wait until 2021 ends.
As the war against this pandemic continues, there is a lot that is being put into consideration as far as the vaccine for COVID-19 is concerned, and any other mitigation factors, intervention factors that every other stakeholders globally are trying to put in place. Now, those ones, philosophers will tell you that always hope for the best as you prepare for the worst. Should we move with another alternative that suppose the worst comes to the worst? These are the intervention or mitigation measures that we're going to apply to ensure that we have smooth transition of power, and also at the same time smooth campaigns that does not favor any other side, considering our capacity.
Now, if the situation continues, we need to develop mechanisms on how to, of course, life must continue, you know, life must continue, and what is important is to come up with ways on how to try to make ends meet. And I've given a very good example, and I know there are other things that are coming all along, because this pandemic is not going to stop rains from coming. There will still be rains. We'll still go to the farms, and you know, so there are so many other things that we don't need to worry more about, because it cannot stay forever, not unless it is during the end times. It cannot be here forever. But if it has to be there until 2022, because our big concern, the concern of so many people is about 2022, whether we're going to have election or not. There must be mechanisms on how we should be able to move from one step to the other. And if there will be election, then there must be a way on how the elections are going to be done. And I've given you a good example, like in South Africa. Electronic voting is something that has been there. It is something that has been established. We can borrow the same. We have the systems. The problem is those who are working the system. It was possible for 2017 to transmit those results. But what happened? The people using the system You remember Safaricom, they had been contracted to make sure that we have the network all across the country. What happened? I don't know.
You see, Mr. Mulwa and also Jacinta, one of the electoral laws and even the Constitution of Kenya is that the election has to be verifiable, it has to be fair, and it has to be transparent. We've seen focus, especially from Mr. Mulwa, is on holding the election. But remember, the process has to begin first from declaring the seats vacant, from registration processes to the campaign period, because you can't tell citizens to go and vote, participating in elections without having gone through the campaign. They need to know who is Mulwa, they need to know who is Wanza. In this context, they have to really be very sure, familiarize with them, digest their manifesto, so that even when it comes, even if it is voting electronically, it is well and good. So we are looking at a capacity. Can Kenya have such a capacity?
I'm very sure that we can have that capacity. Do you know why? Because, you know, in this country, if you look at those who are going, as in the majority of those who vote, yeah, we have the young people between the age of 18 and 40. Those are the people who vote in this country. These are the people now have been introduced the world of technology. These are the people who can look for information, you know. You know, we don't need to have gatherings for campaigns so that you can understand or you can be able to know my manifesto. I can use the media platforms, I can use printouts and so many other things so that you can understand what I stand for. And then from there you can get me together with the other contestants to know who is the right candidate. Because we cannot risk to have gatherings when still the pandemic is going around.
So in other words, you're talking of technology to be an intervention of this issue, to ensure that even if it's campaigns, let it be done electronically. Even if it's voting, let it be done electronically.
Very well.
Let's hear from Jacinta.
I want to disagree with him in some areas. What he's saying is correct, very right. But then, when it comes to selling a manifesto, unless you only want to be voted by only the guys who can go and listen and watch you on the news or listen to the various stations where you'll be maybe given some airtime. That means those our old folks now in the village, many of them cannot access this. So they won't vote for you since they will not even hear about you, because most of them, they're in the farm. Most of them are not even having the little understanding of having a TV in the house. They don't have money for that. Or even, they don't even see the point of having a TV or sitting to watch news or to listen to such forums. So they are busy in the farm or in the kitchen cooking. So we will limit our parents, and especially the old parents, in the voting system.
Many things.
Okay.
Now let's get the parting shots from both of us. As far as the 2022 general election is concerned, to the stakeholders, the IBC, and the politicians themselves. Let's get your parting shot and your parting shot as our show comes to an end tonight.
Well, I think what we should be concerned more is about the how the IBC is prepared for maybe the big game come 2022, because they know the mess or what happened during 2017. I think you read last week, or I think last month, some of the results for people, you know, you find an MP from Beta, then, you know, you go to the system and you find some very funny things over there. So the IBC should now work around the clock to make sure that they have the right mechanisms. Then Kenyans, to all Kenyans, and especially the young people, they should now be more wise than before. We need a collective kind of leadership in this country, whereby our leaders understand the need of Kenyans, not the needs of the French. We need to be able to rise out from our slumberland and get the right leaders who are going to front development and who are going to be out to work for Kenyans. That is the most important thing. Yeah.
Many thanks, Jacinta, your parting shot tonight.
Thank you. I would request all the leaders, and especially our people in the system, to make sure that we make our system ready for elections. I'm talking about the IEBC. because many times it has let us down.
Mm-hmm.
It has let this country down. Mm-hmm. And when we go back into those days where we came from, we really can't grow as a country.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think for our leaders who are elected mostly, they should be able to concentrate more in giving the communities where they are coming from developments, and more so also to try fight corruption, mm-hmm. even within themselves, because they are so corrupted, many of them. When we see news every day about leaders who we elected, who are in power, corrupted, and they are busy actually taking away what they should give to the community, it's very sad for us leaders who are high in those posts. And then again, you see the president will not even sit and achieve his agenda if he's busy fighting corruption. They should be the ones fighting the corruption themselves, and then they support the president to see this country better before it comes to 2022, where we expect leaders to start those campaigns in 2022, not now. This is too early for this country. We don't have money. We are fighting the pandemic. We are thinking about our children going back to school. And we are shocked to see many people in leaders, elected or not elected, they are busy doing their campaigns now. It's sorry for this country. And let them be shame on them. Yeah.
Many thanks, Jacinta, and also Mr. Patrick Mulwa. It's been a wonderful discussion for this night, because we've taken some sort of a break, looking into the state of the nation, an easy night, focusing on matters that are happening in Kenya and possible interventions, mitigations, and solutions to them. They've given us deeper insights that we believe that if other stakeholders pick the conversation and does some sort of implementation, then Kenya will be moved to another level. We appreciate your comments, your feedback, and also your concern on our social media platforms. For me, Cornelius Omuse, till next Thursday on Power Brief at such a time, I wish you a very good night.